Good afternoon, guys. Happy Wednesday. Mario Delgadillo here. Welcome to our weekly sales mastery training. Today, we're going to spend some time on a book review. The book is called Go for No by Richard Fenton and Andrea Waltz. It is literally, in my opinion, a classic, one that you should all have in your library, if not your audio library. I've probably read this or reviewed this at least 10 times in my career. And I'll tell you, 1000%, it was a game changer for myself and for my wife in our career as we really started to take business to the next level. It revolved around our philosophies and our outlook when it came to the word no. Okay. So it's going to be a little bit of a book review. I highly encourage you guys to grab it, spend some time in it, and continue to go with it. Real quick, before we get any further, there's 10 of you guys on. Pop in a number 1 in the chat if you've read this before or listened to it. Pop in a number 2 if you haven't. And if you have, great. We'll go over a little bit of a review here. 222. Oh, perfect. Love it, love it, love it. Awesome. And this is also going to double as a video for new agents joining Finline Financial. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So guys, comfort zone, is it static, right? Is it staying the same, or is it expanding or shrinking, right? You guys have probably heard people say that everything good happens just outside of your comfort zone. So how do you get outside of your comfort zone if your comfort zone is massive, right? So what happens is you actually start to expand or shrink your comfort zone. And so by giving into your fears, right, you in one area, it starts to really become contagious in all areas. It makes it easier to avoid challenges in other areas as well. And so if you can think of people that you would consider either very successful, confident, brave, if you will, they'll take on anything, right? There's no fear. And it's because over the years, they've successfully shrunk down that comfort zone because there's nothing good that happens in your comfort zone. Guys, the next thing is this, is failing does not lead to failure, right? Okay, actually successful people fail early while unsuccessful people avoid failure altogether. This is a huge deal, okay? Because winning is literally an inside job. Right here in between your ears is where you're going to win or you're going to fail. See, comparing people in retirement shows that willing to fail more is the best way to become successful. So let me give you an example. And these are some stats that are pretty mind-blowing, especially in regards to what we do here at Finline Financial. 36% of people die before retirement age. 6% of people will continue working after retirement age, and this probably has increased. 53% depend on relatives, government, or charity for their survival when they retire. Right? That's crazy. And only 5% retire without assistance. And those are the people that failed the most during their lifetime, because statistics and studies will prove that the more you fail, the more you learn, the more you grow, the more you become confident, and ultimately the more success that you have. Okay. The next is failure is halfway to success. So most people, when failure happens, thinks, man, I'm headed in the wrong direction. This must not be the right fit for me, man. I'm going to make a change. I'm going to turn. See, people who are successful, right? They think failure is the halfway mark on the road to success. So not a destination to be avoided, basically, right? It's a city that you've got to drive through in order to hit your destination, no matter what. And I think of this. If you're jumping on the call and you're from New Mexico, right? Watching this for the very first time, here's my disclaimer. I apologize ahead of time, but I do a lot of traveling from Texas to California. And for whatever reason, I just don't like driving in New Mexico. But if you go the north route, you have to go through New Mexico, right? If you go the south route, you have to go through New Mexico. There's no way to avoid it. And if I want to get to my destination, I've got to get there, right? You got to just get through where you're headed. And failure, right? And negativity and all the things is a necessary stop on the road map to success, right? It's a stepping stone to get where you want. Now, think about this. Again, I love this training. I love this book because it just puts some real world scenarios in front of you. How many of you guys have had a child and they're asking for something? In this example, it's an ice cream, right? Dad, can I have an ice cream? How come I can't have an ice cream? Dad, please, please, Dad. Why not? Right? Over and over and over. But a child knows to not take that rejection personally. They'll just keep asking and asking and asking. Now, out of my 5 children, Berlin, which is the absolute middle child, is going to be a ridiculous salesperson because the word no does not phase her at all. Like she is relentless. I can't tell you, I literally say the word relentless at least 3 times a week, and it's usually directed at Berlin because she'll send me a text message. She has to request approval to download apps on her phone. And if I don't see it, I'll get a question mark on it in like a minute. And then I'll get a text. And then I'll get a phone call. And then she'll walk over to my office. And if I say no, oh, Lord, how come? Why not, Dad? That's not fair. Please, can we talk about this? And I'm like, dude. And finally, there's times where I just give in because I want her to get away from me, right? And you think about that. Adults forget that. We forget that taking rejection shouldn't be something that we take personally, right? Whatever, just keep on rolling, keep on moving. But adults get a rejection and we just fall to pieces, right? Like Patsy Cline said. Now, let's avoid pike syndrome. If any of you guys know anything, a pike fish is a giant, you see it on the bottom right-hand side. It's a giant monster of a fish. So there was an experiment that was done where they put a bunch of small fish in one side of an aquarium and a bunch of pike fish on the other, but they had a glass divider so that they could see it. And what was happening is the pikes were going to bang, bang, hitting their face on that glass repeatedly over time until they just gave up. And what they did then is they pulled the glass out and the pikes just stood around circling and circling and circling and didn't even bother going through anymore. And here's the key to this story, pike syndrome. After bad experiences, a few times, most people just give up. They learn to quit, or they restrain themselves or ourselves within an imaginary wall, right? So crazy when you think about that. How many of us have failed at something or another in the past, and without saying it, without verbalizing it in our subconscious mind, which we talked about on Monday, we just decide we ain't even gonna go down that road anymore, right? That's pike syndrome. Maybe some of us today have pike syndrome regarding our business, right? Now, what's your FQ? Like we all know our IQ, which is our intelligence quotient. What our FQ is our failure quotient. So how many times a person is willing to fail before succeeding, right? The most important, that's your F quotient, right? F quotient is how many times are you willing to fail before you succeed? So most important factor to achieve everything you want in life. Think about Abraham Lincoln. I love history, so this slide just it gets me going. Had only 1 year of formal schooling, failed in business 2 times, and lost 8 out of 10 elections. Okay, he's remembered for saving our country, abolishing slavery, and probably the most highest regarded man of God, integrity, and courage there ever was. Right? Harlan Sanders, who most of us know as Colonel Sanders, right, tried to sell his KFC original recipe, which was finger licking good, right? We all know that, for 2 years without success. So the question that I have for you guys is how many times are you willing to bump your head against the wall, right? How many times are you willing to continue to go and pound yourself up against that wall in the aquarium until you're ready to break through? Right? What is your FQ? We all know what our IQ is. Well, actually, I don't think most people do. The good news is that in business, most times you don't even need to know what your IQ is because your FQ, in my opinion, is most important, especially when you have a turnkey system like we do to help people to be successful. Next, please, right? This is at first, it's a tough scenario to hear, but then you think about it and it's a real deal. When you're a doctor and you lose a patient, the magic word is next, right? Focus on the next patient. Now, again, like I said, when you hear that, it's like, I hope you don't hear a doctor going, next, like throw this body out, right? Let's go to another one. But to a massive degree, they have to have that type of mentality. Because imagine you go into one room and you just lost the patient and you talk to the family, you sign the papers, do all the docs, but then you got to go into the next room and it's a family where they're trying to save their loved one. And you've literally got to cut that, drop it, and go to the next one, right? To bring hope to this family, to try to instill something positive, right? This is why on so many movies, there's always that scene where the doctor is like sitting in like an empty room in the dark, just kind of gathering himself because he just had a massive blow. But fortunately, unfortunately, or fortunately, they have to have the next patient mentality. See, we don't. When we fail, we analyze it, we languish over it, we get ourselves, buried into it. Why not just say next, right? Who cares? We've got to move to the next client over and over and over again. Now, here's one that I think is really important, and this is probably one of my keys to success, is numb yourself to no. Guys, don't ignore no. Don't act like it's not there, right? Experience no often, and it'll lose its power over you, okay? If you do the thing you fear, the fear will go away. How many of you guys, you don't have to, share it, but just raise your hand. If there was something that you were fearful of and you decided, you know what, I'm going to go after this thing and I'm going to try to do it as much as possible, and now it's not a fear anymore. Just raise your hand if you've done or experienced anything. I'll tell you mine. Mine was roller coasters. I can tell you when I was a kid, probably about my son Levi's age, all the kids went on roller coasters and I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it. I remember distinctly being at I think it was Knott's Berry Farm with my uncle Carl. And I was going to go, we're in line. And the closer we got to the front, I just started crying even more and more, like not like sobbing like a crybaby, but just crying. Like I was getting nervous. I couldn't do this. And he was just, come on, dude, you can do this. I'm going to be there with you. I'm going to hold your hand. And I did it. And he forced me all day to keep doing it. And then I haven't been on a roller coaster in 100 years, but it's not because I'm afraid anymore. It's because I'm old, I guess. But I remember there was a time where, like, man, I just became like a lover of like roller coasters, right? And that's the idea here, is you have to numb yourself to know. It's almost as if you have to build calluses on your back, right? You have to build a callus, right? Any of you guys who lift, right? My son asked me the other day, or my daughter asked me, why do I have these balls on my hands here? And I was like, well, it's because, we lift weights. And after a while, it doesn't hurt anymore. But it's very similar to that, guys. You have to build a callus over your ego, right? Over your like care factor. I've said this for years. Each one of us have a care factor, okay? And that means, how much do you actually care about what other people say or think of you? And if you have a very low or a high care factor, that means you care a lot about what other people think. And anything they say tends to then become this this pain point for you, and it impacts the way that you act, the activities that you do, right? And if you have a very, very low care factor, right? My wife laughs because she's like, "You don't care what anybody thinks, do you?" I said, "Absolutely, positively, no. I could give a flip. Like, I love people because I'm called to do that as a believer. Like, I have to genuinely, but it's not easy for me. I don't know about you guys. Is it easy for you to love people? For me, it's not. I have to like, all right, God, like, love them, like, right? It's not easy, but I also don't care. Like, I could try to love on people as best as possible, but I also don't care what people think. So it's easy for me to just continue to go through the numbers that'll be necessary to win in this industry. Now, I want you to start thinking about no goals. Okay, so no goals are a complete separate philosophy to the way we've always been taught. So the average salesperson slows down when he or she reaches their quota. So if you've ever been in a sales environment where like you're sitting at a cubicle and it's more of like a boiler room style type of environment, maybe Orlando's been there before, I know Tony has as well, where they're like, cool, you got to make $80 today. Like when you hit 80 and like maybe there's 45 minutes left in the day, you're chilling. Like for the most part, people are like, I hit my goal, and they're just stopped, right? What if your goal was to have 4 successful sales a week, right? Um, and I see this a lot in the real estate space. Whatever your goal is for the week, when people hit it, they just stop working, right? That's why there's a very elite amount or small amount of elite producers, because they can continue to go further and do more even when they hit their sales quota, right? So keeping in mind that most people start to coast when they hit their quota. And let's say an example of a success quota, right? A yes quota is 4 sales a week. So what happens is you get rewarded for the accomplishment, but it ruins your chances of having record-breaking weeks or month, right? See, because 85% of interactions between salespeople and shoppers end without the salespeople ever asking for a buy. So when the salespeople hit a yes, most times they just back off or slack off, right? But what if you changed it up and you said your goal, your quota for the week is to get 16 no's a week? And that's literally what you try to go for every day, all day, right? It's a guaranteed mechanism to at least hit your 4, right? Because by going to push for, even when you get a yes, you're like, it doesn't matter because that wasn't my goal. My goal is 16 no's, and the yeses just happen on their own, right? And again, I'm sharing this with you because this is me trying to help to change your philosophy, right? Jim Rohn, who's like the godfather of personal development, right? Not Jim Rome, the old sports commentator, Jim Rohn, Rohn. And he used to say, when I changed my philosophy, I changed my destination, meaning I changed where I got. And guys, most of us, was anybody raised here by a wealthy individual? Anybody? Was anybody raised here by people who owned multiple businesses or were already receiving generational wealth? No. Most of us were raised by everyday average people. And so they taught us some philosophies, right? And in order to get where I've never been, I had to change my philosophies, right? One of which was this. And again, if you've got 1,000 degrees, awesome. I have a degree as well. But I remember thinking as many degrees as I can get was the way to be successful, because that was the philosophy that was taught to me, right? I teach a different philosophy to my kids now, right? So just changing our philosophies can be a huge game breaker for us in regards to our success. Now, here's the other: fail faster. Guys, frequently approaching people with the most negative messages that you can give them, instead of trying to give them the most positive message, can actually help you win like crazy. So if you're mining for gold, you guys know they get the pan and they put it in the water and they shake it out. You know that they're not really looking for gold. The goal is to remove the dirt as fast as possible. I bet you thought they were there looking for gold. I did. Actually, the goal is a scoop, and whoever can get the dirt out as fast as possible, they can scoop again, right? But if you go through and you get all the dirt out as fast as possible, that's when you actually find the gold. So it's just a change of pace. So this is a pretty cool experiment. And it's funny, when I was preparing this, I was like, man, I remember hearing that and teaching that years ago, but haven't really remembered it for a while. So think about this. Instead of, because here's the thing, so many agents are so caught up with their verbiages and their terminology. Somebody just asked me yesterday, literally yesterday, send me a text today. What's a good verbiage or thought process or idea to go back to old clients that I've had in the past? And I said, okay, well, what is your objective? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? Well, I'd like to just get some referrals, see if they have any referrals, and, I guess just follow up. And I said, okay, so why don't you just follow up and say, hey, how's everything going? Great. Hey, I was wondering, can you think of anybody that I can have a conversation with? Oh, but he was so caught up trying to figure out like this magical way to approach his client that didn't come off. I think people just appreciate like, hey, Patty, how's it going? Good. Hey, it's been a year since your last, since we set your policy together. Any questions? Just want to be here present for you? No, everything's good. Awesome. Hey, one last thing. I don't know if you know this, but I moved my business forward by referral. So if you can ever think of anybody else, or do you know of anybody else now that you've been with me for a year that might be interested in having a conversation? No, perfect. Hey, see you in a year. You just simplify the thing, right? So this experiment says this. What if you were selling insurance door to door and you started a conversation by going like this, ding dong, they answer the phone and say, hey, my name is Mario. Quick question. You don't want to buy insurance, do you? No, right? So the idea is if you can get them to express interest within the first 10 seconds, you can get through more numbers, right? So what's cool about this is none of the customers knew who the salesperson were, right? But daily, 59 out of 60 people said no, and then there was one that would say yes. Do you think that you could cover more ground if you were like, hey, you're not interested in buying insurance, are you? No. All right, have a good day. Hey, you're not interested in buying insurance, are you? No. Okay, see you later. Thanks. Or, hi, my name is Mario. I am the local broker. I'm glad that you answered the phone. This whole crap and song and dance that people try to do because they have a philosophy to try to get the win, instead just, hey, I'm here to collect no's. You wouldn't be interested in buying insurance, would you? No? Sweet, got one. Next, right? It's a change in philosophy. This is why when I ask you on a weekly basis, how many referrals are you going to get? 5. Good. Because guys, I just went to the gym this morning and there was 75 people there. There's no shortage of people. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing, brother? Good. Hey, listen, you wouldn't be interested in buying insurance, would you? Cool. Yeah, I didn't think so. At the market. Oh, man, those are nice vegetables. Yeah. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I see her often. You live in the area? Cool. Yeah. Hey, you wouldn't be interested in buying insurance, would you? Nope. Cool. See, the idea is just do it. If you're hungry, if I said to you, right? If I said to you, Orlando, I am God. Okay, that's horrible to say, but I'm God. And I'm going to grant you the power that if you ask 50 people a day that if they want insurance or not, that I guarantee you're going to get one sale every single day. I guarantee. God told you this. Would you? I know I would. I'd start using a calculator and say, okay, 50 every 50. So, babe, if I get 150 no's a day, that's 3 sales a day. 3 sales a day times 30, that's 90 sales. And then if I do $2,500 each, babe, that's $225,000 a month. Why can't we do that? Why can't we? How hard is it? There's no shortage of people. I see you guys on social media. Patty's at the gym. If every single person at the gym doesn't know that Patty does insurance, right? You know, Shireen is always at the baseball field, constantly, right? If all the parents don't know that Sharina does insurance, right? So it's just the idea of going through more people, fail faster, get the no's faster, because no doesn't mean, no never means, no means not yet. It doesn't always mean never. Here's some stats. 92% of people give up without asking for a 5th time. 44% of salespeople give up after 1. 22% give up after the 2nd time. 14 people give up after the 3rd, and 12% give up after the 4th time. But statistics will say that 60% of customers say no 4 times before they ever say yes. So most people give up before the 4th time, but at 5 and beyond is where all this the conversions come from. Then why is somebody so why do we get someone saying no, right? Ask why, right? Why are they saying no? Well, why not? How come? Talk to me about that, right? Discover what is needed to make the sale. I've literally told somebody, what can I do to help you to believe that this is the right fit for you, right? Get that deep, be that intentional, okay? Fail big, right? The key here is this, guys. Fail big means this. This is, and I don't want to take a full hour here today because this is a very simple and fun mindset training. I think sometimes when it's a small deal, new agents and agents, you know, just agents, period. When it's a smaller deal, people get braver. Oh, shoot, I'll go for it. Small deal. Doesn't matter. Who cares if I lose it? But if it's a big deal, right? People are more reluctant to like go for it, to ask for the sale. Guys, a no is a no, no matter what size the sale is, right? And so my philosophy, because you guys know that I work a lot of annuities, and annuities typically pay out very, very big. Right now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deals on the board that'll pay out over $115,000. Okay, so if you average that out, those are some big deals, right? But guys, if I don't have enough guts to ask for a yes and say, hey, do you want to buy? Let's get your application done. I run a massive risk of never getting that person on the phone again, anyways. So take a swing, take a shot, right? Because if you can't get them back on the phone, right, then you're going to lose anyways. At least you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I took a swing, right? Fail exponentially, right? Great leaders champion failing faster, and everyone in the organization understands it. I remember when I was in corporate, we actually had a go for no month where everybody did like these. Some people did like poster boards with sticky notes. Some people did like the thermometer thing, and we tracked how many no's we can get in a month, and then from those no's, how many conversions we got, and ultimately, at the bottom here, we did it all without increasing any costs. Because guys, for us, men and women, entrepreneurs, small business owners that move our business forward, purchasing leads, right? Why are we not valuing referrals more? Because every time I make a sale, I have to purchase that lead. But if I can figure out a way to generate a referral, whether it's in my community, whether it's in a virtual community like LinkedIn, or it's a business association, or my friends at the gym, if I can figure out a way to manufacture a sale for free, ultimately it impacts my revenue and my take home and the bottom line, right? So fail exponentially, fail as many times as possible, but let's create a culture of failure. Create a culture where we think, man, failure is a great thing. It's where we learn. It's where we grow. Failure is just one more step closer to a sale. Promote a Go for No award. This is just talking about different ways that you guys can promote Go for No with your teams. And this is important right here. These are the last 2 slides. 5 failure levels. Level number 1 is when that everybody has the ability to fail. Okay. But this person has intense desire to avoid failure of all kinds at any cost. We start here and 80% of people stay here. How many of you agree that most people live in level 1? Yeah. Most people, they want to avoid failure at all costs. Okay. Number 2 is willingness to fail, so that they accept it here. They get it. They accept failure as a natural byproduct of seeking success. So they tolerate enough failure to just get what they need. And then 20% of people live right here. And then there's that 3rd level, that wantingness to fail. That's where these locals like myself, that's where we live, right? I desire to fail as a path towards personal and financial growth, right? Rejection actually starts to become fun and empowering when you have a different take on it, when you have a different outlook on failure, right? And only 5% of people ever get to this level, okay? Now, level 4 is failing bigger and faster. Then failing faster is even better. Go for big goals that are worth effort and failure. That means that you're willing to swing for the fence when all is needed is a base hit, because you never know. Sometimes you might connect and actually hit a home run, right? And then failing exponentially. This is massive success, requires many attempts at a goal to fail. You start to champion others to join this team of failing to grow, and everybody wins. Individual success, group success, broker success, agency success, IMO success, and everyone wins. So as we close, guys, before I stop the recording, I'll just say this. One of the things that we were taught a long time ago, and let me see who's on. It's going to be Patty and I. One of the things that Patty and I were taught a long time ago was this phrase. And it's funny, I smile because we used to say it all the time, but it holds true in all sales, right? So we used to say, if somebody says no to you, you say, so what? Right? They would say, what? I just lost it. I had it. So what?
Some will, some won't. So what?
There you go. There you go. There you go. Go for it. Say it all. Say it all.
Some will, some won't. So what? Next.
I heard some wait. So some
Some
will,
wait too. Some
some
won't, some
won't,
wait. So what?
some wait.
Next. So it's
So
four of them.
what?
Yeah. SW.
Next. There
Yeah.
it is, right? And guys, that is business in a actually that is sales in a nutshell. Some will, some won't, some wait. So what? Who's next? Right? So that's our training for today. Before we jump off,